Welcome to the One Mindful Minute, your very oasis of daily well being in the busy world. You may already know you have the power to transform your world, but have you fully tapped into it? In this podcast, I'll share how to unlock the power to enhance your life through the art of living well. With insightful interviews and guided practices, we'll uncover the secrets to inner calm and wellness. It is time to tune in and transform.
Welcome back to this episode. I once again have the honor to have such an expert as Monk Pasura join me on this episode. And in this episode, we like to answer some questions, some burning questions that we got from the last episode that we have recorded together. So first, welcome Monk Pasura back to the show today. And the question that I got from the listener are two questions actually. And one is how to have more rational mind. And the next one is quite similar, is how to shift from the toxic thoughts and feelings, the running thoughts of like when you done something that you thought you should not be doing, or you just keep repeating it, and you can go on and clean the house, vacuum, or go out for a walk, and yet you still repeating that thought over and over again, and you just can't seem to stop the mind from running that same picture. Oh my gosh, why did I say that? I should have said other things. So, and this listener, she could not stop, and she wanted to ask, how can you shift from that to something that's better, that's more supportive? And is there any technique that you would recommend that she can do instantly?
Actually, a tool that can be used to resolve both issues is mindfulness. It has to start from being mindful of what we have in our mind. For the first one, being rational, it goes back to what caused us to be irrational. That most of the time when we are not rational, it is because we're holding on to the illusion of how things should be. For example, this is how the way my life should be. This is the way my relationship should be. This is the way my image that people look at me should be. And we're trying very, very hard to hold on to that image and that illusion. And as long as we keep holding on to that illusion, we become irrational because we're trying to engage with illusion. So it's not reality. The question would be how we can always embrace reality. And that's when we become more mindful. The moment we are mindful is the moment we are stepping back and look at things from different perspective and see it is the way it is, rather than how I presume it will be. And automatically we started to see that reality. And the moment we live in reality, we make rational choices. Same goes with the second one. The second one is all of these toxic thoughts are coming from the habit that we have ingrained a long time ago. And it's always coming back because it's already become a habit. Now, in order to break a habit, it takes repetitive action. Without repetitive action, we will not break a habit. We will not, develop a new habit. So in order to develop new habit, you start from being mindful that, okay, now I have these thoughts, pause, replace with a new one, pause, replace with a new one, and repeat those actions until finally it becomes easier to bring it back to whenever we have the toxic thoughts in our mind. So mindfulness will be a tool for that. But in order to make it, strongly, it needs to be disciplined. Without discipline, it will be very hard to develop the mindfulness. Another part would be we actually engage into this situation based on the trigger. So any actions that we, do, say, think, comes from the environmental triggers. For example, let's say you have someone that you don't like very much. If you walk into a room and that person's sitting right there, automatically, the sense of frustration really come into you, right? even though you don't really feel, that person doesn't do anything, just sit there and breathe is enough to make you upset. That's a reality, right?
Yes, yes.
And is it weird that, why would I get irritated for someone who's sitting there and doing nothing to me at all? Is that my fault? Or is that person's fault? So it comes back to, it should be because sometimes long ago we could have been, frustrated by that person's actions or words in the past, and we caught on that habit. So automatically when that person faces in front of us, we get triggered by that stimuli. So automatically we jump into that habit or that feelings of irritation. So if I don't want to feel irritated every single time I see that person, so the moment I notice that irritation, I say, okay, I don't want to feel like this. Let's move on to something else. So see, that's how mindfulness works, is that I realize what happened with me first, and then I turn that attention to someplace else so that I don't engage into that toxic thoughts any longer. So without the mindfulness, it'll be wrong. So first thing first, in order to create this new habit, you can start from, let's say, it depends on what kind of toxic thoughts that you got. But one of the things that can be helpful can be starting from adjusting your bedroom, because environment actually trigger a habit. So let's say if you have these recurring toxic thoughts before you're going to bed, it would be nice maybe if you get some, new setting, new lighting a bit, just to change the mood so that, at least the trigger from environment can change the way you feel about it. And that could be supportive or facilitating, because as I explained that environment also becomes a trigger of how you interact with anything or everything around you. So, but that's come back to how we can be more mindful. And that takes a habit to develop.
Wow. It seems so easy when you said that. But when you are caught up in the emotion, how do you catch yourself? And is there an anchor that you would recommend that someone can use to come back to reality versus being in the whirlwind of that feeling of like anger or frustration or any emotion or jealousy or like judgment, right?
So everything that I said, theoretically is simple, it is easy. Practically, it's going to be a little bit challenging because it takes developing a new habit. But have you ever noticed when people get upset and they keep getting more upset
Oh,
as
yeah.
talking about it?
Yes, yes. I have experienced that myself. Like, it's like, wow, can I get a break on this? One thing leads to another.
The question would be, did you even realize you were getting upset? Or you were just, you felt this is normal to be like that? In order to resolve the problems, first, we need to identify the problem. Because if we don't identify the problem, I wouldn't know what's going on. So I don't even feel it's a trouble. That's why sometimes the people getting upset, they don't even know they're getting upset. They don't even know what they're saying is coming from their anger. So they keep escalating until one point they realize they're actually getting upset when, the volcano already erupted. So what we can do is to set a benchmark. Now that I'm calm and I'm comfortable, let's say the feeling is after you getting up after a very good night's sleep, you're feeling so fresh, feeling so calm. That should be the benchmark that you set in the day. So every single day when you set the benchmark and you keep track of it, let's say after half an hour, after 1 hour, after you work, then you let make a little bit emotional check to see how far below that benchmark I am now, so I can reset and at least bring it closer to the benchmark. So if we do that evaluation often in the day, so we started to, to notice when our mood or emotion has changed, when I got triggered by the anger, I got triggered by jealousy or any other irritation that I got around me. So without having those emotional, those check evaluation within the days, it's going to be very hard to even know when we're getting more upset. Just like people who are stressful, how they don't even know they're stressed out because they're engaging with it every single day. So it feels normal to be stressful, to be, bored about life. They feel normal. So until they identify what's going on with them, they wouldn't trying to fix it at all. So first thing first is that going to where you can set as a benchmark starting point and take it from there. And many times in the day, have a little reminder. It could be a sticker in front of your cubicles or on the wall somewhere to remind yourself, okay, emotional check right now. Okay, now if I'm far below, pause, bring it back, take a deep breath, close the eyes, come back, unsettle with after reset, then I continue to engage. So in that way, if you do that more often, it's gonna be constantly checking our emotions, and it's gonna be easier to bring it back.
Thank you. Is that the same as when you wake up in the morning and then you set an intention for how your day is going to be like?
Yeah, technically it's the same thing, because that's how you can set as the standard of how you want it to be, how you want to feel. But without even noticing that, because usually after we get up, we tend to, snoozing after the alarm. So it's the snooze and
5 more minutes.
exactly. So we already kind of, getting to this hectic morning routine. Run for breakfast, run to the car, start right away, try to drive a little bit faster, cutting all the lanes in the traffic, even though it's gonna make us 5 minutes faster.
Carpool lane when you are not allowed.
All that, you see, all those times, you don't even know what's going on with your emotions or your mind. So if, we set up, a bit, getting up at the right time as we plan, reinforce it after a couple of minutes in the bed, sitting and, okay, this is the mood and emotions that I want to have for me, set the intention, set the tone, and then leave the house, follow the routine, keeping the checkpoints here and there. So eventually you become a new nature of yourself.
Now, what about just because you're talking about setting, maybe have a little note in the cubicle, and now okay, I'm just going to speak for myself here, that if I don't put anything on my calendar, which is going to be on my phone, things are not going to get done. And that means I constantly going to have to check my phone, or my phone will give me a reminder of like 30 minutes or an hour reminder. And that means I'm picking up my phone or I'm looking at my phone. Now, what if we put this reminder, the checkpoint or the benchmark, on the phone every hour to check in with ourselves, of where we are at, how we are feeling at this hour, at this moment? Now it creates a new habit of like, oh my gosh, like I can't live with my phone now, because without my phone, I am lost, because I don't know what's the next thing is that I'm supposed to be doing. So it seems to like create another addiction, a phone addiction. Because once you pick up the phone, you're not just getting your reminder, some other notification, emails coming in, someone is texting you, voice messages. So now, next technique that I would like to ask, how do we handle the addiction of like picking up the phone? And also someone was asking me similar question after listening to your last episode of podcast as well, of when they make an attempt to go out to walk in nature, and then they try to not leave the phone in the car and just go for a walk because they don't want to have to pick up the phone. But then they have this feeling of like, what do I do? It feels so like I'm missing something. Like I want to take a picture, but I left the phone there. And then they're feeling like, something is coming up, and I kind of want to use the phone to look up something. And then it becomes that like the need to have the phone. So how would you, that person also asked if you have a phone. So I said, yes, yes, you do have a phone. So I thought this would be a good question for you.
Well, I do have the phone, but that was actually a person said to me, don't do these 3 things: blaming, justifying, and denial. So blaming the phone doesn't change reality. I was born and grew up in the era when there was no mobile phone yet in Thailand. I was born in 1977. So, actually the first phone that I got was when I was already in college. And those days were just still, this big phone thing that you still have the flip phone. So before that, it has to be with a coin. I can live through that without internet. It's the habit that develop around it. So if the phone is just a tool, it is a tool. It's a camera, it's everything. Now your life, your plan is on it. It's the attachment to the insecurity that we need to get rid of. It's not the phone. Because even though, like you said, you can go take a walk in the park and then you're still thinking about the phone all the time because your mind is still attached with the phone. Basically, it's attached to the sense that you still hang on to a device that, that you need to constantly being updated and check and, this gratification after something's to stimulate you from reading this thing. So it's not the phone itself, it's how you use the phone. So that is the habit that we need to be correct, not just, throw away the phone because otherwise it's going to come back the same way. You just said yourself, they can just be walking, thinking, try not to get to the phone. But you can start out with a bit more, like like a rehabilitation. For example, let's start, let's say if you go on a holiday for days and you arrange everything in advance just to make sure that you can stay for a couple of days without using the phone. Actually, we had a meditation retreat in Thailand that we actually collect the participant phones.
Wow.
Yeah. And for 10 days, actually. So they did give out the phone for 10 days. Of course, afterward, they really miss it. But the point is that if they know in advance that they're going to be get rid of the phones and we encourage them to, just leave it with us, you can make arrangement everything, or you can limit it to times. Let's say you can deposit your phone with us. You can actually claim only certain times of the day, only this time of the day to use it if you just to check it. And after 10 days, I actually, they learn how to get around without the phone. So it's actually a breaking this habit that we need to kind of get into that, okay, what time do I need to have? So you can set the reminder, like you said, reminder that this is the reset time for my mind. This is the time for this, for that. And do we actually have the discipline to keep up with that? Or is just another notification and we move on, just like the email, just like the text message, like we look at the notification and move on. Or we actually engage with that. Don't lie to yourself. How many times when you reach the notification of your email or text that this is the urgent matter needs to be handled, you still put it off? Like, yeah, be later.
Yes. Because things can wait, right? I mean, even though if someone is actually in an emergency room and then they, trying to reach you, what can you do really? You're not there. You're not the doctor. You can only acknowledge, okay, that person is, this is what's happening with them. And yeah.
That's why you have a choice of what action you want to take after you have the notification that they will have the device on you. So you can choose how you want to engage with it. So if you keep blaming it because of the phone, you're actually not trying to resolve the root cause of the problem, which is the habit you build around it. And it could be something else. We have so many addiction. People can be addicted to playing games, watching movies, not staying on TV. There are so many others, addictions. Phone is just a tool. We can use the tool in the right way and the wrong way.
Yes. We have to be smarter than our smartphones and use it to support us to actually be better and not just and better meanings like better as a human being, not so much of a human doing. Did I say that right?
In a way, yes, because the thing is that we let the actions define our days. And what we are really lacking is just moment of stillness, moment of ourselves, moment just to have the bit of reflections, moment to look inside and, understand ourselves a bit better to get the insight of ourselves. That is the moment that we don't have much because we keep running after these activities and try to fill the void with the activities in our life. We can't leave any space in our life at all. People around me always complain, my life is so busy. I wish I have time not to do anything at all, just be totally lazy. Seriously? Have you ever seen anybody actually doing that when they have the free time? What do? They try to do something anyway. That's a reality.
Yeah.
Always fill the void with something. That's the thing, let's say now you have time, you don't have to work, you don't have to do anything, you can stay home for a whole month. Let's say you can actually do nothing for the whole month.
No, there's going to be some binging on movies, Netflix, or YouTube TV.
Yes, and then after you get bored, you're gonna move on to a new things. A new thing. You see that what that's my point is. We blame these things, but we don't look at the cause of it, which is ourselves. So it's easier to blame, oh, because I have the TV, because of the Netflix, because of these devices, the technology, social media, blah 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 blah. But it's how we develop our habit around it and try to fill the void instead of using that moment to fill the void with ourselves, to be with the present rather than just to cover it up and put a lid on it. That's what we love to do. We love to put the lid on things that we don't want to engage. Let's say you have troubles, you feel depressed, you feel anger. So instead of, dig deep into yourself, why do you feel like that? No, it's easier to just watch a movie and forget about it. But the problem has not resolved. It's still there in your mind, in the back of your head. So every time you kind of, vulnerable, get lost in your thought, they come back. And that's when they hit you even harder. So
Yes.
whenever you just, take a time for yourself, make a little reflection, look back inside, get inside of yourself, that's when you begin to resolve them.
Now, that leads me to ask you, this is just from my personal practice as well, and maybe we can give the listener out there, whatever channel they are listening to a little taste of the practice that you would lead us to the stillness of our mind and, of course, physical body in some way. So maybe a short 10 minutes practice, if you would.
Definitely. So we can try 10 minutes of meditation practice. In the meditation practice, the keys that I need to emphasize would be one, it's not about forcing the mind to be silence of thought, because it's not going to happen. If you cannot stop thinking with your eyes open, I'm sure it's not going to happen when your eyes are closed. So if you're trying to force your mind to be quiet enough, to be silence of thoughts, it's going to come back a lot more. If you have thought, that means your mind, your brain works as normal human being, and that's a good thing. So don't feel bad. The key to meditate is more like you just learn to take a step back and be an observer until they don't matter to you anymore. It's like the best way to give example would be like when you go to the beach, you just sit there and take your time to just soak it in, just like you just enjoy the moment of sitting right there on the beach. Sometimes you notice the sun, sometimes you notice the wave, the bird, the breeze, but you still keep coming back to, I'm just sitting right here, taking my time to rest. Meditation is exactly like that, when you just coming back to the starting point. So in that starting point, there are 4 checkpoints that I would get you to kind of try it. Number 1, sitting posture. The first checkpoint is to take your time to observe the way you're sitting, whether it's going to be sitting on the chair, on the couch, on the bed, on the floor. Just make sure this is the one you feel very balanced, the one that you can just stay still the longest without feeling bothered or feeling force yourself into this position that you're not comfortable with. So take your time to get adjusted. Whether you need pillows or cushions, up to you. After you get settled, second would be take your time to relax your muscle, especially your facial muscles. The facial muscles are the part that we usually tense a lot when we stress out. So if you actually intentionally de-stress these muscles, the rest of the body become more comfortable and your mind will withdraw from the physical sensation. Number 3, free your mind. Our mind usually holds on to matters, whether it's going to be our work, our relationship, or whatever we hold on, and it doesn't let go very easily. So we need to create a landing for the mind to let go and touch on something else. So a couple of techniques that you can use. Number 1 would be just feeling your breath, not controlling or regulating your breath, but more like feeling the way your breath goes down and touch where it's turning deep inside yourself. So each time it comes in, feel that comfortable sensation within as your breath goes down. And then at certain point, you can even imagine yourself in an empty and open space or even a beautiful sceneries like the beach or the mountaintop, just to feel that you're right here in your own space. Then once you feel really settled down with that space, turn it back inside. just to have the awareness within you where your breath ends in the middle of your belly. So in that way, you can just let your mind sort of going back home and immerse in a state of comfort and stay there. I'm sure it's going to be some point that you're going to be distracted either by your thoughts or by your surrounding. So keep coming back to checkpoint number 1, 2, 3, and 4 again. It doesn't matter how many times you have to restart. It can be 20, 30 times. It's good because each time you are building up that awareness, that attention, and that's a good thing. So it's keep building it up. So it doesn't matter if you keep to come back and restart so many times. It's a good thing. So that's it.
So come back and restart meanings you can just open your eyes at any time and just maybe take a deep breath and just shake out the hands and the legs and then come back and do it all over again.
Every single time I teach meditation, there's one thing that I explain, and not as a joke, but it was a reality, is that you are not a Buddha statue. You cannot be still like a statue. So don't try to be a statue. There's no rule. You have to be like a statue.
Yes. That is so simple and yet not exactly the easiest for us to do because we try so hard. And I think the problem is we try too hard when the actual meditation practice is so simple, but we make it hard. We're so wired to make things so complicated in order to value it.
We are wired to get result. That's the thing. And we think just like everything, if I kind of push it hard, I'm going to get the result right away. Meditation is different. Meditation is about disengaging. The more you disengage, the closer you get it. The more you engage, the less you get it. It's the other way around. Because as long as you engage with these matters in your mind stop. You're still jumping from one to the next. So what you do is just like watching a movie. If you go to the cinema, what is your task? Sit back, relax, watch the movie. You're not the director. You're not an actor. You're not a commentator. So your job is to sit back at your most comfortable seat, and whatever it goes on, let it be. You just observe them. Sometimes you get lost into thought, just like you become an actor or actress in your movie. You started to act in this scene, talking with different characters, then come back to your seat and start again. That's it. There's nothing more than that. Just come back to your seat, come back to your seat. Because anytime you're trying to be a director, the movie don't end.
Right.
If you want the movie to stop, don't engage with the movie. Watch it. It will end on its own.
Now, the most effective practice is not the quantity, it's the quality of the practice. So going back to the note that you said, put a little note for yourself in your cubicle if you're at work, on your desk. So if we were to see that note, maybe every time we look up from staring at the screen at work, and then we look up to look at, left or right or whatever. And now we can practice mindfulness every time we're looking at the note, right? And we can do that as often as you can remember to look up and to look away from the screen.
You can just do it anywhere at any time. There's being resolute, about what you want to do. Normally we can put all these beautiful words and pictures around us. We don't even look at it, I'm sure that in your house also there's a lot of picture right here and there look beautiful. Do you even look at them? Not very often, right? It's more like a decoration. But
right.
If really, intentionally make it a tool to capture your attention. Okay, this is a reminder. So I'm gonna each time discipline myself that each time I look at it, I will just, take a deep breath and just reset my mind. Then it become a new habit. So it's about making that, commitment to be disciplined to the same action over and over again.
Yes. Keep the quality each time we do it. So even if we just look up and see our notes and then take a deep breath or a few deep breaths to be more effective, because anything that you do more often will become the habits. Mm-hmm. And we want to create the healthy habits and And if we don't have the healthy habit, we're gonna, or if the healthy habit that we try to create is not stronger, is not more dominant than the bad habits that we used to go to all the time, then we're never gonna override the bad habits.
Totally. Just like you, if you drink coffee with sugar every single day and suddenly you want to get healthier, stop taking too much sugar, then you started to drink black coffee. So after, a couple months, when you started to put sugar back into your coffee, you start to feel it's too sweet.
Yes, that's a
Remain
great
consistent.
example. I love that. Yes. Yeah, that's another thing that a lot of people are having that habit tied to, is to drink coffee. And if they don't drink coffee, they feel depleted very early in the day.
So to say, you see, it's about keep on that same discipline of the habit that you want to create without, having that commitment to it. It's not going to change. But once you kind of get, at first, of course, it's not going to be something that you like. But after some time, just begin to get used to it. And even going back to the old one started to feel weird. So we can do it, whether we want to do it or we committed to it or not. That's the thing.
So how do you deal with that feeling of feeling weird?
Well, if I create a new one and it's going to be good, I will start small. So for example, we can start, let's say, the diet. So if I actually, my weight goes up and down a lot because monks taking food what people are giving. So that's not always the healthy one. So what I would do is that, okay, I think this is way too much for me. I have to cut on this, on that. At first, I will just replace it with something, I'm a big guy. I eat a lot. So I will stop myself with something that healthier, more vegetable, in order to make myself full instead of cutting down the amount of food I'm eating, because I can't go hungry. Otherwise, I'm frustrated. So, and it become easier to just, okay, at least my stomach is full. So this the diet, it doesn't feel so bad. So you see, a lot of people, when they start the diet, they say, oh, I'm going to cut down all the food. I'm going to change type of diet, things that I'm going to eat, blah, blah, blah. And it's way too much to keep up.
Too extreme, too black and white, right?
We want to revolutionize our life in one day. That's most of the time, and people love to do, and it can't happen like that. It's too hard. So start little by little, until it become a new thing. If you never exercise, you're not gonna go run 10 kilometers every single day. So start by, walking up and down the stair first.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's a really, really great example. Thank you so much. Wow. Again, this episode is so packed with valuable information and knowledge and little tips here and there that we can incorporate into our days, our daily life. So, biggest thing that you can take from this episode is definitely small things. Start with small step. Don't try to revolutionize your entire life of how many years that might be for you in just one day, 2 weeks, or a month. It's not going to happen that easily. So if you have any questions, any comments for Longpi Prasura, again, please feel free to reach out to me. And whether you comment on the YouTube channel or reaching out to me on LinkedIn or Instagram, we will get to your questions, and then we will have your questions answered here. If you have anything you like to have Longpi Prasura cover in the future, he is going to be traveling soon and he's going to be busy. I'm not sure if I can hunt him down again anytime soon. So please take action quickly. If you have any questions, please let us know. And if you enjoy the show, please share this episode with your friends, with your colleagues, or anyone you think that could benefit from the talk that we have shared today. Would be highly recommend and appreciate it. So for today, thank you so much for joining in, and we'll end on a high note here with some breathing, bringing in some deep breath and slow breath out. And we'll see you again on the next episode. Thank you. Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode and inspired to take the next step in your wellness journey to building more resilient and effective days at home and at work. I want to invite you to get in touch with me to learn more about the customized wellness programs that could benefit your team, your organization, whether it be retreats, workshops, 21-day meditation challenge, you name it. Let us collaborate to supercharge your well-being today.